Hi, this is Bob from Hobby Concepts, and today I've got a different video. Normally I'm building trucks. Today I'm just going to show you a finished truck. I've got this truck here that I just finished. I'm going to do a little video of it running with the sound effects that it's got, and then after that's done, it'll be dark when I'm doing that. And then after that I'll open it up, show you the insides, show you how I did it, show you how the radio operates it, and no building, just running. So anyway, a little different video for me. I think you'll like it. Let me know in the comments. In any case, let's get started.
What's your 20? It's about 16 miles this side of Mississippi. Whoa, hold it. I just passed another Kodiak with a Kodak. This place is crawling with bad. Where the hell are you? Come back. Breaker 19, this here's a rubber duck. You got a copy on me, Love Machine?
Alright, so now that you've seen this truck operate, let's just start out this part of the video by showing you the inside. Now, it really looks pretty simple, because it actually is. Very straightforward. There's a lot of wiring in it, but you can see that the Beier SFR-1 is mounted up here on top. This output bus is for all the lights in the truck. So there's 8 outputs. I've actually used 7 of them. And those run things like the bumper, the underglow lights, and all the rear end lights. This output up here, where there's nothing plugged in, is for the body, and I'll talk about that in a minute. You can see that I've mounted the SFR on the standard Grand Hauler mounting plate. The receiver and the wiring are tucked underneath. This is a programming lead, so you can plug in the cable for programming, and I just like to leave those in there, so when you open the back you can pull this out and have it available for programming without having to try and get something up here on top. And battery wires, of course. Now the wiring runs down between the plates and down underneath the chassis. So all the rear wiring is in this loom right here, runs up to the bumper, and it splits off for the coupler motor, and there's some underglow lights down here. You can see those, and it splits off for those. And the front bumper wiring, if you can see it, just piles up into here, and of course the servos. So that takes care of the chassis. Now the chassis runs and drives just like this. You don't need the body on. You can run it, you can drive it, all the sounds work, and it runs around really good. Now what I've done on this truck, and I've been doing this on all the trucks now with Beier SFRs, again, is all the body wiring, grab the body here, is in one plug. Now, because this truck has a light bar on it, there's also a light bar plug, and you can see I've marked that light bar, and then this one will plug in here, and so it makes it very easy to remove the body with only one plug. Okay, that way you can work on it, you know, take the body off, and you can see all the wiring in here. I've got high beam and low beam headlights. I've got the turn signals, and I'll talk about those later. I've got the lighting for the air cleaners. I've got dash lights. I've got interior cab lights, and then I've got these running lights here in the back of the cab. And all those run through this plug right here. So when I want to put the body on, all I have to do is just plug this in, like that, plug in the light bar, and put the body on. Super easy to work on. The take this out of the way again. The speaker is a Beier small speaker in the speaker box, and it's just double sticky taped right on top of the servos. Now this truck has an RCP 57 front bumper and a RCP 57 grill. The grill is, I took the backing out so the sound comes through the grill nice. It also has RCP 57 stacks, and yeah, everything else is pretty much the way I built trucks. I stripped and painted the tanks, obviously used chrome tape for the straps, painted the fenders, added diamond plate. I added the rear coupler. I'll talk about that again too. So I'm going to go ahead now and install the body, and then we'll run the truck, and I'll go through each operation to show you how I did it and how to operate it. Alright, so we ask about how does all this stuff work? How do you actually work it when you're driving the truck? And it all works from one transmitter, no special things required, no phone or any extra things. So what I've got here is I've got a sheet with every operation. So on my radio, just make sure that I'm in the camera here. Yep. Okay, so on my radio, I've got the right gimbal, which is this gimbal right here. And you can see that I have up 1 for headlights, up 3 for high beams, down 1 for tail lights, down 3 for front bumper lights. So what that means is when you move this up 1 second, it turns on the headlights. Our headlights are now on. And when you put it up for 3 seconds, it turns on the high beams. You put it up for 3 seconds again, it turns them off. Up 1 second, it turns off the headlights. My left gimbal, I move it left for 1 second for dash lights, left for 3 seconds for interior lights, right for 1 second for running lights, and right for 3 seconds for the underglow lights. And I'm going to show you all these. I want to damp down my lighting in here before I do that. The left roller, that's this roller right here. If we go up 1, it advances to the next track on the audio player. And if we put it down 1 second, it turns the audio player on and off.
What's your 20?
Okay, so that's on and off. And then if we go up 3 seconds, it turns the hazard lights on, and down 3 seconds, it has a walk-up sound.
What's your 20?
3 seconds. And you heard that sound in the video. We'll continue to kind of go through those. Okay, the right roller is the horns. Up 1 is the air horn. Up 3 is the long horn. Down 1 is the Jake brake. And down 3 is the dual horn. So if we go down 1. That's our Jake brake sound. And then across the top here, we've got switch A is the air cleaner lights. Switch B is the light bar. I'll shut the lights off in the shop and we'll go through those. VRA, this knob right here, is the coupler. VRB, that's our volume control. That's our shift. Switch C, and switch D is our engine sound on and off. So everything is handled from one transmitter, and you can basically, with SFR, you can assign any function to any stick or whatever you want. You can even do more. For example, I have up 1 and up 3 on these. Well, you can go halfway up 1 and halfway up 3 and halfway down 1 and halfway down 3 to get even more functions on one stick. I don't like to use those if I don't have to, because it's a little complicated to try and hold half a stick. It's real easy to hold it all the way down. So I try not to use those. And with this radio in the 12-channel mode, you get a lot of nice buttons and switches and knobs and enough to operate anything. This truck has a lot of lights, and you can see that we didn't do anything crazy as far as operation, and it works good. So I'm going to damp down my shop lighting a little bit, and then we'll go through the functions and you can see the outputs. Alright, so I have my my lighting in the shop down on purpose. So let's just take a look at some of these features. So we'll start with the first one, which is our running lights. Okay, now the running lights turn on all the top lights. They turn on the front and back turn signals with a lower intensity. So when the turn signal is operating, it operates normally, and when it's not, it has a little bit lower intensity bulb. You can adjust that. It also turns on these red lights on the back of the cab and the red running lights on the rear bumper, and I'll turn it around and show that in a minute. So there's our running lights. Now if we hold this over for 3 seconds, it turns on our underglow lights, and I think, yeah, you can see that pretty good in the camera. It has a nice glow underneath. Okay, the 1 second over here turns on the dash lights, which you probably can't see from there. I'll give you a better look later. But then I can turn on the interior lights, and you can see that. And because I've got a driver figure and a little dog in there, and a nicely done dash, it's neat to have lights. I also put a panel in the back behind the seats, so it hides all the wiring that's in the back. So I'll turn those off. Okay, now our bumper, we can turn on the bumper lights, and then we can turn on the headlights and the high beams. So that basically gives me all the lighting on the truck. Now I have the lighting set on this so that when you start the engine, especially when it's cold, as the alternator comes up, the lights will flash. So let's start the engine and see what that looks like. And you notice, as soon as the engine comes up to speed, the flash goes away. So that's just the simulated alternator catching up. It's so nice to have the volume control right on the radio. And then of course I can move it. And I can shut off the engine sound. So that's all the lighting on the front end. Now this truck also has a light bar, which is quite bright. This is an LESU light bar, and it has all kinds of functions. So you can flip it and it changes functions, different effects, and it's got like, I don't know, 15 effects, just a ton of them. And some of them are pretty cool. And then when you flip it down, it shuts it off. So that's the light bar. Now, as far as the lighting on the rear end goes, okay, you can see our turn signals here on the outside are dimmer because we have our lights on. Now I can turn off the running lights, which are these lights here and the lights in the back of the cab. And those turn on with the upper cab lights. And we turn the underglow lights off. Now, reverse lights come on when you're backing up and go off when you're moving forward. And brake lights, see, when I move the stick forward, the brake lights go off. And when I back up, the hazard lights automatically come on. And you can change those settings, but that's the way I've got it set here. And actually is quite nice. Looks pretty good. So that's the lighting in the back. Now the sound effects, of course, we've talked about those quite a bit. I have my walk-up sound, which is me crunching through the gravel, and I recorded it and slammed the door. And then of course you can start the engine right after the walk-up, and it makes for a very nice effect. And the engine sound off. Now our horns, we've got great horns. And of course, Jake brake sound. Which I think is spectacular. Then I also have hazard lights here. And the hazard lights do the same thing. Even if you have the running lights on, it takes them, overpowers them, and they shut on and off. And you can turn those on and off. And then we have our audio player. Now, the audio player that I have in here has got a bunch of different songs on it. So it has, the first one is some CB talk from the movie Smokey and the Bandit. The second one is the theme song, Eastbound and Down, from Smokey and the Bandit. The third one is the theme song from Convoy. The fourth one is Simple Man by Charlie Daniels Band. And the fifth one is Magic Carpet Ride. Now, because this video is going on YouTube, I can't play those because of copyright issues. If I play the songs, they get mad at me and kick me off YouTube, which I don't want. But I can play a second of them. So the CB talk I can play.
What's your 20? About 16 miles this side of Mississippi. Whoa, hold it. I just passed another Kodiak with a Kodak. This place crawling with bad.
Okay, and then I can flip this to go advance. There's Eastbound and Down. This will be the theme song from Convoy.
Breaker 190.
Okay, and then we have Charlie Daniels Band, Simple Man, and then we have Magic Carpet Ride, and then we can turn it off. So you can flip through those real quick, get the one you want. You can have up to, I think, 26 different audio tracks, and they can be as long as you want. So you could have 26 songs or put in recorded sounds. The walk-up sound that I did is actually not in the wave player, it's in the standard audio sound, so you can just pick those off one at a time. So that's kind of how the operation of this truck works with this FlySky 12-channel radio. I'll tell you what, I mean, these Tamiya trucks are amazing, but the SFR-1 from Beier brings them to life in a way that's just, you just can't imagine with anything else. I know people talk about other things, but the Tamiya MFC works pretty well. It's easy to put in, but you cannot do what we've done here. And you know, that walk-up sound, I just took my recorder, recorded myself crunching through the gravel, and added it. It's so cool to be able to do things like that. So let me turn the lights back on and we'll finish this up. Well, there we go. So I know this was a little different video because I didn't actually build anything on it. I just wanted to show you this finished truck. I actually built this for a customer and did some things that he wanted and did some things that I wanted, and came out with a really, really beautiful truck. Just to give you a little recap, it's got a RCP 57 bumper and grille, visor, and stacks. These are hydraulic Hobbies wheels. I think these are LESU air cleaners, and LESU light bar, and LESU polished upper lights. These are Tamiya polished metal horns, which I now use on every truck I build. Those plastic ones are terrible. The Tamiya driver figure, custom painted dog. The dog's name is Boone, and I got some pictures of the dog from the owner and painted him to match, so that was cool. We stripped and painted the tanks and the upper parts of the steps. This is monocoat trim film chrome for the straps. There's a hair from Winston here. On the back end, diamond plate that I cut from the diamond plate that I sell. Servo operated coupler. I have a separate video on how to do that, and as far as I'm concerned, I'm doing that now on every truck. It's easy to do, gets rid of all that horrible looking stuff up here, and works really good. So that's a must do for me. The paint is Tamiya metallic orange, and I just started painting trucks with this. I painted one, and then I'm like, oh my word, the stuff is amazing. It goes on beautifully and leaves this really deep finish that I really like. The bumper's the stock Grand Hauler bumper. We put red lights here. We put the backup lights here. Brake tail lights here and turn signals here. And then of course I added the upper lights up here. I think those bezels are from TrueScale. I'm not absolutely positive, but they worked out really nice there, and I filled the rest of the holes. So there's not a lot of crazy custom parts on here. It's a lot of mostly stock stuff. The lighting effects are all done with the Beier SFR-1 and the LEDs that I sell. Every bit of it. And it's fantastic. It just looks great. I think this is probably one of the best looking trucks I've done. So anyway, there you go. I hope this, like I said, it's a little different video. No building, just kind of showing off a completed truck, but I hope you liked it. I had a lot of fun building this truck. It's actually fun to build a truck and not film along the way, because I can just operate at my own pace, and you don't see my mistakes. But boy, did it turn out good. I don't know, I almost don't want to send it off. Ugh. Anyway, so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. It helps with the YouTube rankings. And if you've got questions about how I did a lot of the things, down in the bottom of this video, you click on the word Hobby Concepts. It'll bring up my channel. Click on videos. It'll put a list of every video I've ever done. And I've got a whole series on called Beier Masterclass on how to operate the Beier stuff. I've got a new video on how to update this radio to 12 channels, but I also sell this radio already done with the centering stick and 12 channel conversion and ready to go. So that's a great radio, by the way. It just works fantastic. So you know, you can look through my old videos and see how I did all this stuff. I've got one called Custom Grand Hauler that's kind of basically an early version of what this truck is. And so you can see all those things. But anyway, thumbs up on the video, please, please, please. It really helps. Subscribe to the channel. Love to have you watch future videos. And as always, thank you so much for watching my channel. I'm over 6 million views now on my videos. That's just hard to imagine. When this thing started, I thought maybe I could have a couple hundred subscribers and have over 35,000. That's crazy stuff. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.